since 1970. The NFC has won 26, and the AFC has won 25. So it's a one-game difference in the last 51 Super Bowls. That's kind of wild.
All right.
So if the Bengals
So
win, they would tie it at 26. That's wild.
what is going on, guys? The 2021 season is officially over. I mean, well, the Super Bowl still has to happen, but a lot of things to go over in our 2021 season recap. I am joined, as always, by Ben. So, 2 videos left of Nick's picks. We already know the winner. If you guys watched last week, you already know the winner, so there's really no point in me not saying the fact that I am gladly 2-0 on the picks. I won it last year just by 3. A little bit bigger of a margin this year, but it was still down to the very end. Ben, it was a very, very well fought effort by you, but we will see what you have to do in the next episode. But what do you think? How do you think the season went? Do you think that this is I feel like the first real season back from COVID. So overall, how do you think it went?
Well, I think it went pretty well. Obviously, both our teams did. Probably, I think Atlanta probably went above my own expectations. But then again, I was very hypercritical. I didn't, even though yes, in the preseason, I said they would finish second. I was just being a homer there. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. So for our team's sake, I think it was about what we expected. A lot of ups and downs throughout the season. I know we'll talk about each of those individually, but overall, no like reschedulings, which thank God for that.
Still a problem, in my opinion, in the NFL with the whole player. Like, it's hard for us specifically to pick each and every week when we just don't know who's out because of COVID, or they might be out like the game before because of COVID. And it's something that, like, the players, I mean, you can control to an extent, but you really can't stop yourself from getting it. So I'm sure it's frustrating on the players too, and something that hopefully will get better next year. But what we do have in store for this episode for you guys, obviously you saw in the title, the biggest news that has come out ever since the 2021 season has ended. Tom Brady, the GOAT himself, has decided to step down. We were going to make a video on this a couple of days ago when the news first broke out from Adam Schefter, but there was some controversy on whether it was like true or not because it had never actually come out of Brady's mouth. But now Brady has confirmed it himself. Tom Brady, the GOAT himself, will gladly admit it, has retired from football. He retires from football with more Super Bowls than any franchise in the NFL. Not player, franchise in the NFL. So, Ben, as a Falcons fan, as somebody who, I can sit here and talk nice things about Brady because he never broke my heart, really. But as somebody who's a Falcons fan who went through probably one of Brady's greatest games in his career, and the 7 Super Bowls, that is, a hell of a list to be at number 1. How do you feel now that he is now out of the league and specifically out of your division?
No. Look, I said it. I texted you the moment that Super Bowl was done. The moment Brady completed the comeback, I said if no one had him as the GOAT, he's the GOAT now. If you had any doubt of any kind, oh, it's the scheme in New England. Oh, the Seahawks didn't run at the 1. That's gone. That's gone at that point. If you didn't have him as the GOAT at that point, he cemented it there. And sure enough, he won 2 more after that. So he's the greatest. I hated going against him. I hated more that Atlanta never beat New England / Tom Brady. So it kind of stings that we couldn't get a win over him. But, at the end of the day, he is the greatest. He is the GOAT. I got nothing but respect for him. He should be probably in Canton by tomorrow, honestly, because, that's what he is.
Although I made him the title of the video, we aren't going to spend the entire time talking about Tom Brady. I will leave it on this. For any of you who do have a question in your mind, is he the greatest of all time? Here you go. Tom Brady finishes his career ranking all time first in career passing yards, first in career passing touchdowns, first in career wins, first in career win percentage, first in total EPA, first in total WPA. No fucking clue what that means, by the way. First in Pro Bowl selections, first in Super Bowl appearances, first in Super Bowl wins, as I said, more than any other franchise in the NFL, first in Super Bowl MVPs, first in conference championship appearances, first in playoff yards, first in playoff touchdowns, first in playoff EPA, still don't know what it means, and first in playoff wins. I don't think I said second anywhere in there because he was second to none in his career. Tom Brady, I hope you have a good retirement because I hope you don't pull a Brett Favre on us and come back next year. But let's get into some of the things that we wanted to talk about in the 2021 season. Now, a lot of things happened this season and a lot of things to talk about. I would love to sit here and go through each and every team with you guys, but it would just be too much and it would be a long video, and to be honest, you guys wouldn't watch the whole thing anyway. So now obviously we're each going to talk about our own teams and where they stand at the end of the 2021 regular season. Well, look, a couple of weeks ago in a video or in an intro, I don't remember, I think it was an intro to a video, I promised Ben that I'd be keeping the same optimism that I had in the preseason last year that I'll have the preseason this year. And then, like, in the coming weeks after that, like, everything that happened after that video, everything just got worse and worse for the New York Giants. So now I'm at a point where I do have a sense of optimism for this team. And it's because I do think that Brian Daboll is the best fit for that Giants team. And without getting too much into the whole Flores situation, and I do understand everything that's going on, and if there is a racism issue, that should be addressed. I do understand that. But in my personal opinion, I will say that Brian Daboll, it would have been my pick between the two as the head coach for the New York Giants. Mainly because I wasn't ready to give up. I'm not 100% ready to give up on Daniel Jones yet. Just because of all of the hate that he's gotten, even from the minute he was drafted, people just said he was a bust. And granted, I've said that about multiple quarterbacks too. But when I watch Daniel Jones play, and when I'm watching this Giants facilitate their offense, it never seemed like it was really Daniel Jones's fault. It just seemed like this offense wasn't built for a young quarterback like him, for the skill sets that he does have of mobility that Eli never had for the however many years he was a Giants quarterback. So I just feel like when Eli retired, the offense never evolved to go to a new system with Daniel Jones. They stuck with Eli's system, which is just not for Daniel. There's a lot of issues with Daniel Jones. I know that maybe I'm not right. Maybe like he just doesn't have the talent and it is his fault. But I do think that this is our best opportunity to figure it out this season. I know I said that last year, but I should have known Jason Garrett was the head coach or was the offensive coordinator. Nothing was going to go right last season. I should have had no optimism last season. Looking back at it, I was just stupid for having any optimism last year. This year, I have at least a right to be optimistic because the only reason I will be optimistic, there is a chance I'll still not be. If we don't do anything for the offensive line this offseason, then I have no hope for next year. No matter what Daboll does, no matter what Daniel Jones does, I have no hope. But if we do make some moves on the offensive line, I really do think that's our only hole on the offensive side of the football. We have now an offensive-minded head coach with whoever he hires as the offensive coordinator helping him out. I really do think that with the right system, this offense can put up a lot of points. So I'll keep the optimism, but we do need to fix the O-line. That is the biggest thing going after the 2021 season.
Well, maybe I would want Daniel Jones because he's not due $48 million like Matt Ryan is due this coming year. All right, I'll get to that in a second. Atlanta, like I said, they did better than I expected. They finished 7-10. I said best case, like their ceiling, my best case was that they'd be 8-9. maybe 9-8, but that was like me like really stretching it. So they did about where I expected. I also wanted them to tank early on, how it looked like they were doing, but clearly that doesn't happen. So this team is just a roller coaster every single week. They can look like they could beat teams that are like top 5, top 10 teams, and then they'll play teams that are like bottom feeders and get their ass kicked. Like it's so inconsistent. And I get it. Calvin Ridley was out. He had, dealing with his own personal stuff, and I hope he gets better with that. But when you as a team have to rely on Cordell Patterson, which granted, he's a stud, he's not bad, has 1,000 scrimmage yards this year. He's not bad, but when he's your best option, and if he's not, your next best is a rookie tight end. Even if it's a tight end or it's a rookie still, that's hard to sell. Like he had 1,000 yards, but he had like one touchdown with Kyle Pitts. So I'm a little more I'm a little optimistic next year, but I said this to you. The main thing going forward is you have to figure out Matt Ryan's situation. You have to figure out that contract. You have to go to him and saying, look, there's a few options here. The first option is you got to take a pay cut because we can't sign anyone. They are below the cap. You had to get a pay cut. They already got to talk to Grady Jarrett, who's making 20 mil. He might have to get a pay cut too, or restructure. So I don't know how the GM is going to do it, but you have to work that out. And if you can't get that, you have to trade him and say, look, Matt, we respect you. We know you want to retire here. We know Arthur Smith has your back, but logistically, if you can't take a pay cut, we got to trade you. Where do you want to go? Is he a good quarterback? I think he is a top 15 quarterback. I think if you put him in a situation like Matthew Stafford is right now, I think he could lead a team to Super Bowl. I think he still has those skill sets, but because of that contract, it's just hard to swallow. So I think if you get rid of Matt Ryan, I think you also get rid of Calvin Ridley and just blow it up. Just keep Kyle Pitts. He's your only key, I guess. And God, it's gonna be a rough. At least your team, I feel like it's gonna trend upwards. My team is definitely trending downward. And you know what? I felt that way the last 2 years, and it's just I don't want to live in purgatory. I'm okay if the team's rebuilding. I can be content with that. But when there's no direction, it really sucks.
Before we end the episode, guys, there was a lot of major storylines that happened this season. So real quick, I'm just going to go through a couple things that I feel like we can't go through this video without saying. First and foremost, obviously, Tom Brady retired, but also Sean Payton stepped down as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, meaning the NFC South is now the worst division in football.
I'm not going to deny that.
This one was actually just announced today, the day we are recording this video. The Washington football team has now announced their new name, the Washington Commanders, which, look, I'm just happy that they found a name for the JV team. I hope they find a name for the varsity team soon. That's all I have to say about that.
So bad.
Right? Like, come on. I feel like Red Tails would have been
2 years. 2 years they had to sit on this. That's moving on.
And obviously, last but not least, the Super Bowl, the Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals happening in LA. Back-to-back years, a team hosts a Super Bowl after it not happening for the first 54 Super Bowls. So that's insane in itself. The Los Angeles Rams, we both had picked in the preseason to make the Super Bowl on the NFC side. We had differing AFC picks, but neither one ended up making it. It ended up being the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals will be going into that game underdogs, but it's going to be a tough game for both teams. So definitely a good game coming up. And I just want to make sure I don't have anything else of major importance. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger's retired. That we've known that though since they lost in their playoff game. So Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger being gone means all of our childhood quarterbacks are now gone from the NFL. And the new generation of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert,
Joe Burrow,
Lamar.
A lot of them are in the AFC.
Yeah.
That AFC.
Daniel
that
Jones.
Okay, but
overall 2021 season and going into the Super Bowl next week, where you will have to endure your second punishment for losing the picks. How you feeling? And do you have anything to say before we head out?
I will say, getting not only, because remember, I did pick the Rams to win, getting one of those teams right, both of us did, but from 1 out of 32, for both of us, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good, especially all things considered. We didn't expect them to get Von Miller and Odell. And I think we both agreed early on that Tampa and Green Bay were probably overall better than the Rams. But you know what? No one expected the Cincinnati Bengals except for maybe people in Cincinnati. And I don't think they did because if you saw their celebration, they're like, wait, we won something? We're actually good? Like, we can do shit? Like, I'm happy for Cincinnati fans. Even if you lose, don't be upset because no one really counted you in this. And the fact that you're in the big game, that says enough. So you got a bright future ahead. And that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase connection is going to be scary for years to come.
Guys, if you liked the video, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I was thinking, because we didn't get to go through each 32 teams in the NFL, I would do one video for each team. I probably wouldn't be able to do it with Ben because scheduling, recording-wise, that would just be tough. And I would probably have to do multiple teams a week because otherwise, like one team a week, I don't think we even have 32 weeks until next season starts. So if you do want to see me go through each team individually, one at a time, let me know. It'll be just kind of like short little videos of me recapping their season and where they need to go from here. But let me know with a like down below in this video. Subscribe to the channel, like I said, if you haven't already. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. We'll see you in the Super Bowl special, the season, well, kind of the season finale of Nick's Pick Season 2, but like we're going to have some off-season videos as well. But the big puncher finale of the picks for Season 2 is coming next week, guys. So stay tuned for that one. That will be a live premiere as well as the AFC and NFC Championships were. So be in the live chat for that. And I hope you guys have a great one. Peace.
Deuces.